creating a pop-up screen inside of your Power App is actually very simple, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at how to do that today. You're going to be able to get this within 10 minutes. You'll be creating your own pop-ups. So stay tuned. We'll jump right to it. So let's go ahead and open up PowerApps and get started. Again, this is a no frills, just take me to where I need to go to get the job done. So let's follow these instructions. Pretty simple. We're going to create a new screen up here, and right here we're going to set this screen, the on visible. Notice right here, on visible, on visible. So I clicked on there, on visible. Set pop to false. Remember, pop is the variable name. So right there, you can name it whatever you want. It's a global variable. So just remember, if you're going to use multiple pop-ups, you'll want to name these specific to whatever section you're working in, right? Pop attachment, pop file, pop whatever, right? Pop delete, confirmation, whatever you want. So name the variable and set it to false. Okay. Next thing we want to do is insert this rectangle. It's blue. It's simple. Insert icons, rectangle, boom, done. Okay. And we want to set this property. We want to go ahead and set it to the back for this. All right. And then, of course, remember, we can color it over here. Do whatever you want with the color. Here, we're going to do another one. We're going to go ahead and right here, insert label, and in the text, we're going to put in my application. You can also put it in over here. You can adjust the font, such, easy peasy. All right. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to add the elements of the pop-up. So remember over here, as you look here, this is all of the pop-up content. Now, we've just gone through these things. Well, we haven't done the buttons yet, but we will. Instructions, and then the image backup. Notice I've named them. Do yourself a favor, take the few minutes, name your content. Then I've taken all of my pop-up content and I've put it into a group. And we're going to talk about that group in just a minute. But the first thing we want to do is insert another rectangle. So here we have the rectangle itself right here, label, where is it, image, backup. So we went ahead and set this right here. We just hit icons, rectangle, insert, and we colored it to this color. Easy. Same thing with the label. We did the same thing right here, label, pop-up, example. Okay? Same thing with this button. We've done the same thing. Okay? We just set it, added them all. So you're getting the hint here, right? Here, the text input, we went insert, text, input, or input, text, input, whatever you like. And notice here, we've taken out the value for the default value. So I get ahead of myself. So let's go ahead and take a look, see what we did. So this guy here, we added a button. That's the first thing we did. And the only code that we need to do is on this example is on select. We use the variable, so we're going to reset that variable to false. So when we hit pop-up, let me just show you what show pop-up. Notice here it says the variable, it's true. Now when we hit the button, we want it to go to false. So when you hit it, it's going to go away. Now you can add other commands to this. For example, you may be patching something, you may be refreshing something, you may be whatever you're doing, you can set that variable to false and then run the other code that you want. So whatever you choose there. And we already went through these. This is a standard text input. I don't know if I wrote it down here. I just assumed that you would know, but it's just basically insert, and I already went over that text input. So here we have our pop-up. Now we want to group it. To group something, what we do is we select, and I'm going to group these right here. We're going to say that's a background, that's not, and that's a background. So we're going to group these two items together. We're going to right click on it, and we're going to hit group. Notice it just creates a group. I can rename the group, and I'm just going to put this as app core. Okay. So here, when I open it up, I can see that. Same thing with my pop-up content. Though the reason why we do the pop-up group, notice here that I have them all grouped. Everything's good to go, right? I group my pop-up content because I want to be able to control its behavior as one group. And that is done right here through visible. So we want to, and right here, change the visibility for everything on the pop-up to visible code pop. So visible and the code is pop. So we group all the events. We call it group content. And then when we get there, we're going to name this. We're going to change the visible to pop. And that's important because the visibility of everything that's within this group is now going to be dependent on whether or not the variable pop has been set to true or has been set to false. And that's what makes it pop up or pop down. Okay, so click on there. If we don't group them, we have to go into each one of these individual and go to on visible. Where is it? Or it's not. Visible, excuse me. And we have to set them to pop. I just find it easier just to do it as a group and set the whole group to pop. So you've done that, and that's it. And now you're good to go. Now, setting these buttons here. I've just created some buttons. You can see here, create the button and give it pop-up. So to create the button, we go to Insert Button. We name it, and then we simply set the code on select. So when I click on it, it's going to set the pop-up to true. And then on select, it's going to set up to false. And then that same action we're giving here on the on select when we exit. On select, we set it to false. Okay, so let's go and take a look, see what we're doing. Now, this search doesn't go anywhere because we haven't connected it to anything. It is a search box. We could connect it to anything that we want. Actually have a gallery here like we learned. Let's go ahead and run this bad boy and see what it looks like. So again, pause the video, copy down these steps, and copy down the code. You may need to use the video on occasion to kind of remind yourself of how it all fits together, but this is kind of the code I use, this code for myself as a reference. So here's show pop-up, release pop-up, hide pop-up. Of course, it's not there. So all that this is doing when I click on this is it's setting that pop variable to false. And here it is again, show, hide, show, hide, show, hide. Very good. So that's how you create a pop-up. It's really very simple. And then this is the application background. Now we did go ahead and set this into a group. Because they're all in a group, we can say non-visible. So when we do that, we can easily remove something from the screen when we group it all together. So I want it visible, but we can do that. And for any of you that work with graphic programs, this is like a layer, right? This is just a different layer that we can turn on and off, or we could turn this layer on and off based on global variables like we showed you here with the visible pop with this pop-up